The following program is a special presentation of the Big Ten Network, produced in association with the University of Wisconsin.
He left college and got a job molding young American minds. Then he got into radio. Then he became a cab driver. And then he finally landed the job that was meant for him as the host of one of America's most popular radio shows. And he's with us today. We'll meet him next. Stay with us. He's the Woodstock generation's answer to Groucho Marx. He's worked in local radio, afternoon drive as a Chicago talk jock, and even had a short stint on national television, but he's best known as a Saturday radio ritual in homes across America. And now comes the predictable point in the introduction where I turn to Michael Feldman and ask him the question that will haunt him all his living days. Hey, Michael, what do you know?
I'm a ritual?
Yeah, you are. I think you are a ritual. Absolutely.
Like a blood libel or a ritual?
You are ritual. I mean, when you're raking leaves,
so they
when you're
remove your
raking
beating
leaves
heart and
throughout the country,
yes,
you hear your voice and the laughter you get out of your audience all across America.
Then don't rake.
Are you a comedian?
No.
What are you?
Comedian is funny.
No, but I mean, you are funny.
If I'm funny, it's inadvertent for the most part. Yeah.
That's not true.
I got it from my mother.
You're going way too aw-shucks.
My mother was inadvertently funny.
Really?
Unintentionally funny.
In what way?
Everything she said was wrong.
Really?
Yeah. She would mix up subjects and verbs and gender and objects, or direct objects would be indirect, and the sentences would be backwards. She would start with a predicate and end up with a subject.
Good. Was humor a big deal in your house?
I could go on about her. She really was. She's quite the natural humorist. And she got sayings wrong.
Gertrude.
She used to say things like, one back scratches another.
That's good. What was another one?
She almost got the sayings right, you know.
What was another one?
I don't know. That was the only one I remember now.
When did you realize that this was what you were meant to do?
I haven't realized that yet.
When do you think you will?
If I realize it, it'll be too late by the time I realize it, I think. You know,
But you get to make a living cracking wise. That's fun, right?
Cracking wise?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, whatever it is that I do, it's lucky that there is such a thing, because otherwise I wouldn't be working.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
And you were a teacher before that. Were you happy being a teacher?
I was occasionally happy.
Yeah.
I was happy, happiest leaving teaching, I would think. But I enjoyed teaching, but I hated being a teacher.
Yeah. Because
the principal was, I had a huge file. I had a bigger file as a teacher than I did as a student.
You were a rebel.
No, I didn't dress. I dressed.
You wore sandals.
I was casual.
Yeah. You wore sandals.
You couldn't wear sandals. This was in Kenosha. You could not wear sandals because the last guy who wore sandals got sent back home to Madison because he wore them to the country club welcome. So there was no sandal. And they asked me at the interview, will you sit cross-legged on your desk and teach your class in a yoga position? And I said, no, but I did. I'll be darned if I didn't.
When was there a time when you were doing the show where you laughed really hard at your own show?
When I laughed during it?
Yeah, during it, where something struck you as funny and you literally laughed so hard you...
Jim sometimes says something.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to give him credit for it.
Good. Well, that's a good thing.
It's my announcer, Jim Packard.
Right. And you go on the road. What do you learn about the show when you go on the road?
I learn, where we are usually. I learn something about that place. We've been practically everywhere in the country doing shows.
Why is the show so popular?
A lot of Big Ten schools, by the way.
Well, it's a literate crowd.
Penn State, Michigan State, part of all the stadium frenzy.
Yes.
To see who has the biggest stadium, and they keep adding on to them, and Michigan and Ohio State.
Right.
And I like our luxury boxes better than any other school in the Big Ten.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Are you a sports fan?
No. I'm just faking it.
Right. I thought so.
I buy the occasional ticket on the street.
Yeah?
And go. Yeah.
Right. At listed price or?
Yeah, list plus 40%.
Right. So.
And then I end up in the student section and I got to jump.
Right.
I'm jump challenged.
Yeah. That was. Do you feign jumping where you just throw your hands in the air?
I do the little middle-aged jump thing.
But you really don't leave the ground.
You just get up on your heels a little bit and say, oh, I'm jumping. So. Why do they even do that? I don't understand how that started. I'm more into the body
Can I tell-
passing. In
it
my
was-
day, we body passed, and that was.
I'll tell you when it started. It was when Ron Dane broke the record against Iowa, and somehow they played the song, and the place went nuts. It was right
started
after he
jumping.
broke it. That's when it kind of started. I
you
think
go.
it did for me.
Okay.
Hey, how long did it take for What Do You Know to become What Do You Know? Because you had been through a lot
Well,
of
it
radio
started
shows.
as "wah," and then we went "dia," and then we said, "No,
It's like
we
interviewing
got to
Mel
end this.
Brooks.
We got to end this somehow." So we put a
Right,
"no" on
no.
the end. And then the "not much you" was added to that. And,
You don't think you should talk about your work, right?
no, I'm trying to. Actually, I'm just a really bad interview.
That's
You're a
okay.
good interviewer, but I'm just a lousy
No, I
person to
understand.
try it on.
So, did it
It sort of was born full grown. It was
Really?
basically everything I can do in radio.
Right.
Because I have maybe like 3 skills.
Right.
I can free associate.
Yes.
I can walk around an audience and
Right.
say things to them.
That's 2.
Well, it's 3 really. I can walk in.
Oh,
I can
and
talk
say.
to-
So
yeah.
that's okay. So that's.
And I can go.
I think you're stretching it, calling that.
I know how
last
to
one,
use
too.
the phones, although I didn't at first. So.
Right.
And that's about all you need to do something like that.
Yeah.
The
And
rest is just a dysfunction.
are you surprised by the popularity of the show? Sometimes does it surprise you?
I'd be surprised if it were.
No, you are. I mean,
think it's pretty.
It's a hit. It's a hit.
Yeah,
but it's a cult hit.
That's bad then. That's
Like you'll be in
it's a
Time
minor.
magazine, but you'll never be on the cover.
No, I was in Newsweek once.
Yeah. How was it?
And I was in People magazine one time.
Yeah.
And they came and they wanted to photograph my wife and I in the bathtub for one of those things because they just had done Buzz Aldrin for the magazine, and for some reason they were in a hot tub.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do something similar, and she
And there's a
refused to do
connection
it.
between you and Buzz?
No, that's what they do. They do like people at home. What do they
Strange
know?
stuff,
So they were
yeah.
in,
And
well,
did
we
you
didn't
do
have
it?
a hot tub, so we were going to do it in the bathtub. No, I did. What I did was they said, "Well, what do you do? What do you do around your house?" And I said, "Well, I usually drag the TV in the backyard and watch the Cubs games, in the summer." So that's what we did. We dragged the
Well, that's
TV
good.
back there, and I watched the Cubs game.
We're going to find out more what Michael does in his free time when we return here from Madison. How's that for a throw to break?
This production of Wisconsin Reflections is produced by University Communications at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Consider this. There's a public university that consistently ranks among the top in the number of Peace Corps volunteers and in the number of graduates serving as CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, whether they are leading corporations or changing the world. The next time you see people doing extraordinary things, they are probably Badgers. The University of Wisconsin-Madison. Forward thinking.
What is this? A wireless microphone? Who's using this?
She was.
Oh, television. Television. Yes. Okay, television. Hello, television. I'm on television. Hi. Hi, everybody. Don't they usually have cameras? Is that the camera? Oh, yeah, my doctor has something like this. You should get these every few years, by the way.
Michael Feldman is with us, the superstar host of What Do You Know on XM radio, on Sirius, on iTunes, on
iPod.
what's the difference between National Public Radio and Public
Cassette.
Radio International?
I'm on cassette mixes.
Are you?
If you have a cassette mix
Your own mix?
tape, I'm probably on
Yeah.
there.
But what's the difference between NPR and Public Radio International? I'm always
Spelling,
confused by
it's a
that.
spelling thing.
Yeah.
They're two competing services.
And
really.
which one are you with now?
And we're losing, I must say. They're winning.
So can I ask a serious question? It won't be that serious
Certainly.
after you're done answering.
Yes,
But
be as serious as you like. Doesn't matter to
so
me.
Kentucky Fried Theater and the Zucker Brothers comedic franchise
Yes.
in Hollywood. The Onion. What Do You Know? Even Chad Vader, which is now a comedic darling of the internet.
Yeah. Chad Vader, I thought it was for years. I thought it was a Jewish holiday.
Right.
But it's not.
High Holy Day.
Yeah, Chad Vader. We got to go to church.
So
Chad Vader.
the question is there like that's a lot of comedy to come out of a little town in south central Wisconsin, if you think about it.
Which town is this?
Would be Madison. And the question is, why?
No reason.
Very good.
Yeah,
Moving
I
on.
don't think it's true. See, my brother Howard has this theory about the Milwaukee School of
Okay.
comedy.
So
'Cause you
every town has their own
Because you
school.
can add the Zuckers in there, too.
Right.
Because I think they're from, and
Oh,
Nat Hiken and Liberace and
Right.
Howard himself, and and me,
Right.
and there's a couple other guys, but it's a very weak argument.
So it's puffery, you think?
Sheer puffery.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know something. You are a David Lynch fan.
I like David Lynch. Yeah.
Why?
Because he has a very odd sense of humor.
He does have an odd
it's
sense of humor.
his stuff is all humor, and people always interpret it. But he's basically a humorist.
Right.
It's black humor, but
Right, it is.
So I very much enjoy his take on family life, which is severed ears and falling over with
Right.
a hose in your hand. Is very much family life. So I could relate to it. Totally.
When did you first come upon his work and think, I really like his point of view, or I understand his point
I
of view?
think it was the thing.
Speaks to me.
It was the guy who had the heart attack with the hose in his hand.
That was
And
Blue Velvet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just sort of fell over, and
Just
the hose
fell
was still going. And I thought, what a beautiful. That was like a Milwaukee moment for me.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's probably how I will go.
Right.
Or while raking. Or shoveling is more likely.
Yeah.
Like during the shovel, have a shoveling moment, dead in the bank, and that's it.
So you went big time at WGN. How did that? What did you learn from that? Because you don't seem.
They were big time. I wasn't.
No, you were too. But
For a minute
it
there.
didn't work out.
No.
But you don't seem remotely bitter about it, and
Oh,
and now
I'm
you're a
very
Cub
bitter.
fan because
Let's
of
get
it.
in.
Are you bitter?
That's how bitter
Light them
that
up.
I-
Who
that I
are
am.
you really angry
No,
at?
I'm not. I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
I learned a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I learned never to work with anyone
Yeah.
again.
As in a partner.
A partner.
Right.
Never a partner in life or in business. And I love the way they do radio, actually. I mean, the call-in radio is basically what we're doing now.
Right.
That style of radio, people call in to get, to get directions.
Sure.
Thought, what a great use of airtime.
Right.
And they would call, and I don't know from Chicago directions
Sure.
what, where you
Well,
get
they
off
thought you
on
were
the-
Wally Phillips.
on the Edens.
Wally,
Yeah.
I'm coming into the museum.
And I met Wally. I went
Yeah.
in Chicago and went in the restroom, and Wally was on the top of a toilet hiding paper on top of the tank.
For
And I
what
went in,
reason?
he said they run out. And so I saw Wally. That's for my
He was
first day there.
rat-holing
Yeah,
paper.
and so I was on the air that night, and I said, "You never believe I was in the men's room, and Wally Phillips was standing on top of the toilet, hiding." And they came running into the studio, say, "Stop with that! You can't,
Can't make fun
So
of
that was
Wally.
that was day one.
Yeah.
And it went downhill from there.
You became a Cubs fan, though. That's
Yes, I did.
that's the
that's
an
the
interesting
downside.
legacy. And because the Cubs are.
It's a bitter legacy.
Yeah.
Being a Cubs fan.
How long were you in Chicago?
As you know, the worst part of a year.
Yeah. When you.
I was out by Christmas. They
Really?
fired me on Christmas.
Did they
figured
really?
He's a Jew. What does he even care? But I went to the Christmas party anyway, which they had in the basement of the Sheraton, which they had flocked.
Yeah.
And they handed out little GN cups.
Yeah.
Little GM glassware, which of course you really. I don't have it today. I don't know what happened to it, but. And
Did
they were
you
very
s-
sad to see me there.
Did you study anything at Wisconsin that affects you today in what you do?
We studied War No More.
Right. Yes, we
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't.
So you
work
didn't really go
very
to class for several years.
We had pass or fail in my graduating year. The end of the year said,
The whole
"Listen,
year?
Yeah, there've been no classes, and here's what you can take pass. You can either pass yourself or fail yourself. And I think just about everyone passed themselves.
We're going to ask some more questions of Michael and see if the audience does a better job than me when we return.
This is an audience participation show. So if it's a bad show, whose fault is it? Exactly, mine. Okay. So we encourage you to get involved, and because people at home are listening, and if they think you're having a good time, they will have a good time. That's the power of the media. Okay, so it's very important, even if you're not having a good time, to project that you are having a good time.
We're back in Madison, Wisconsin with Michael Feldman, the world-renowned host of What Do You Know, heard on everything from XFM to Sirius to iTunes. And we've got some questions for you, Michael.
Okay.
And I'd like you to be very serious at answering them. Okay?
I'll do my best.
Great, great. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Clark, and I have been in Madison a very long time, and I remember seeing you at Dolly's on Willie Street doing
No,
the
I was at
breakfast
Cleveland.
special over 25 years ago. And just what are your thoughts about that whole experience?
That was
now,
a great
at this point?
experience.
Yeah.
I had my first I had a little gig. I had a call-in, Friday night call-in for the geriatric bedridden crowd Friday nights. But then I went big time at Dolly's Fine Foods. It was in the mornings and 6 to 9, and then I'd go teach at the alternative school because they didn't care when I showed up or if I showed up.
You taught at Dale Carnegie?
At Shabazz.
Oh,
almost the same.
I was going to say.
And it was a great experience. So we'd have the overnight people would be in for the first hour of the show. So we'd have some of the local alcoholics and transients and musicians and what have you, that sort of crowd, you know. And then other people would start migrating in, and I annoyed them while they were trying to eat, and that's sort of how I learned my trade.
And music's a big part of the show. How did you come upon the trio? And because really Saturday morning and...
Well, there's only 2 of them. Technically, they're not a trio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, that would not be a trio.
Not be a trio.
I just thought drummer, bass, and piano.
Well, the drummer, Clyde doesn't usually
right.
play with us in the studio because he's too loud.
Ah.
On the road, we take him on
Right.
the road in bigger places.
Beautiful. We've got another question for you. Could you stand, please?
Sure.
What's your name?
I'm Mary Lou. Michael, how do you choose your guests for both the show, and then how do you choose your audience members to interact with you?
Well, the audience members is just, I go by aura, usually. Like yours is sort of a bluish,
Do you think it has
aquish.
anything to do with their blue sweater?
I think the sweater is emitting it, and you know, but that's just chance. I look for rapid eye movement. I look for pupils that are not dilated, and I try to avoid people who have, you know, do the arrow through the head thing, or holding up placards, or are dressed as fruits or vegetables, that sort of thing. And the other part of the guests is just mainly, you know, who will come on the show, and who, if there's a book, an author that I like, I'll invite them on, or sometimes we're topical, and you know, it's pretty catch as catch can.
How do you hear about the authors, Michael?
Review of books, mostly, you know, or I go to Amazon and see what's selling, you know, and see if I can actually deal with that particular author. But by now I have a lot of authors that I like, that I keep having. I've had Calvin Trillin on 27 times, for example. I don't think he even writes anymore. So.
Michael, you do a live show. There isn't that much live programming, it seems, in the media culture that we have. Did you have any sympathy for Don Imus?
Oh yeah, I actually like Don Imus.
And what was your take on what happened to him?
Stupid thing to say.
Right.
But it was his partner. See, that's why you should never have a partner. His partner led him into it and sabotaged him. He set him up and you know, with his stupid, and he jumped on it. He shouldn't have, but you know, so just get rid of the partner. Now he's working again, and just, you know, no partners.
I think there's a real interesting affinity that audiences have for radio personalities that's unlike anything in the media. There's loyalty, and radio is arguably the most addictive medium for audiences in some ways. Are you surprised at how fervent your fans are?
I did marry one.
Or troubled?
I married one.
Did you really?
So I'm sort of regretting their fervency.
She was a groupie?
Yeah, on one of the earlier shows she came, you know.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably going too far in terms of audience appreciation. But no, my audiences are great. My audiences bring the show, so I really owe them a lot, basically. Without them, because I've worked in a studio just myself and a microphone, and it really is very deadly. So the audiences bring the show, and my job is to exploit them.
Right.
But so they won't feel bad about it.
And well, I'd like to find out about how you prep the audience. We saw a little sneak preview there.
A little alcohol, a little swab.
Exactly. We're going to find out a little bit more from Michael on how exactly he does that when we return. Stay with us. We're in Madison.
For more information about the show or to be in the audience for future tapings, go to www.wisconsinreflections.wisc.edu.
Hey, we're back in Madison with the host of What Do You Know, Michael Feldman, who's not answering our questions today. It's great to have you here, Michael. Here's another question that you don't have to answer. Please stand.
I'll answer hers.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Catherine, and I just have a quick question. I'm currently a junior here at the university, and I know you went here in the 70s. What did you enjoy your UW experience? Did you have a good time?
Well, I minored in rioting. So, now you have beer riots and Halloween riots and so forth, but we just had riots over every possible subject in my day, so that was entertaining. I actually came up here because my brother Howard went to Madison, and he's 10 years older than me, and I used to come up and I go to his frat house, and the sorority girls would be there, and they'd pet me. It was just, I loved it. I thought, I'm going to Madison, So I came up here, and we had one panty raid. And then the next month, it was the Dow demonstration, and it ruined my whole college experience. Because I wanted to be a frat boy like my brother Howard. But
So you weren't politically active?
No, not really. I was the original bystander.
Yeah.
I was there. They talk about the bystander was. I was the bystander they kept citing in those things. Because I really couldn't see throwing bricks. It's not my style.
Another question. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
Randy from Madison.
Oh, great. What's your question?
Michael, have you ever had a guest that you've tried to get on the show and just tried and haven't been able to get on the show?
Yes, many. Most of them.
Any reactions to why they wouldn't show?
They don't think it's really worth their time.
Ask them who, too.
Oh, who?
Because he's not answering
who would
my
that
questions.
Probably every major actor, actress, and author. I hate to narrow it down to one, but it's not all of them want to do a comedy quiz show on a Saturday morning.
Who have you had once and never want to have again?
Well, why would I say that?
Because it's fun.
You were on once, I think, weren't you?
Perfect. I was, actually.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it's the last time we did that.
I know, that's right. Please stand. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Paul. My question, with the writer's strike going on now on television, I'm wondering if you've had any inquiries into maybe switching your show over to TV.
No. I've had some offers to get off radio, though. But, the good thing is it's a wide open field now. I own topical events in America, but no one seems to realize it. But I'm saying all this stuff, and I wish someone would pay attention to it, because now I own American topical humor until the strike is settled, So, ask me something topically humorous, and I'm your man.
That was my topic.
Oh, okay.
What's your take on The Daily Show and Colbert and this new kind of
They're too good.
Really?
Yeah, they're too good. They get too much attention. Their books sell really well.
But they'll never last as
like
long as you. They will never last as long as you.
They might have longevity. I don't know.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
Is it over?
It's already over.
I thought we were just leading up
sorry.
to it.
No, I know you're waiting to go to calls, right?
Yeah, no, I thought something would happen at some point.
Well, yeah, I did too, unfortunately. Thanks, everyone. Michael, thanks.
Thanks, John.
Congratulations for your success.
Thank you.
And doing it out of Madison is just great. I really admire it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week on Wisconsin.
The preceding program was produced by the University of Wisconsin in association with the Big Ten Network.